The cold, dimly lit room seemed to close in on me as I huddled in the corner, gripping my camera tightly. My breath came out in shallow, ragged gasps as I tried to steady my trembling hands. Sweat trickled down my forehead, mixing with the grime and dirt that covered my face. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears, drowning out all other sounds except for the eerie silence that enveloped the abandoned building I found myself in. I was a budding filmmaker, always drawn to the raw and visceral nature of found footage films. From classics like The Blair Witch Project to more recent entries in the genre, I had always been fascinated by the way these films could blur the line between reality and fiction, creating a sense of unease and fear unlike anything else. When I heard about a local legend surrounding an abandoned circus that was said to be haunted, I couldn't resist the urge to investigate and document my findings. Armed with my trusty camera and a sense of adventure, I ventured into the decaying structure, eager to capture any evidence of the supernatural. As I explored the dark, labyrinthine corridors of the circus, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The walls seemed to close in on me, and the air felt heavy with an oppressive presence. Every creak and groan of the old building sent chills down my spine, and I could swear I heard faint whispers and giggles echoing through the halls. My camera became my lifeline, my only source of comfort in this unsettling environment. I filmed everything, from the decrepit circus tents to the rusted remains of old rides. The eerie atmosphere seemed to intensify with every step I took, and my camera captured it all. As night fell, I decided to set up camp in one of the abandoned tents. I could hear the wind howling outside, and the darkness seemed to press against the canvas walls of my makeshift shelter. I huddled close to my camera, using its faint glow to ward off the encroaching darkness. That's when things took a turn for the worse. I started experiencing strange occurrences that I couldn't explain. My camera would capture bizarre footage that I didn't remember recording. The sound of footsteps echoed through the empty tents when I knew I was alone. Shadows danced in the corners of my vision, disappearing whenever I turned to look at them. The lines between reality and fiction began to blur, just like in the found footage films I loved. I couldn't trust my own senses anymore, and the fear that gripped me was palpable. I knew I had to capture everything on camera, as my only hope of unraveling the mystery of the haunted circus. I ventured deeper into the circus, following a trail of clues that seemed to appear out of thin air. I discovered old journals and scraps of paper that hinted at a dark history of the circus, involving tragic accidents, disappearances, and unexplained phenomena. The more I uncovered, the more the puzzle pieces seemed to fit together, but the more terrified I became. As I delved deeper into the circus's dark secrets, the supernatural activity around me intensified. My camera captured ghostly apparitions, strange symbols etched into the walls, and eerie voices whispering in the wind. I found myself losing track of time, and the lines between day and night blurred together in a surreal haze. My mental state deteriorated rapidly, as the strange occurrences took a toll on my sanity. I became paranoid and jumpy, constantly looking over my shoulder, and feeling like I was being watched from every corner. The circus seemed to come alive at night, with shadows that moved on their own, and strange, otherworldly sounds that echoed through the empty halls. Despite the fear that consumed me, I couldn't resist the compulsion to keep filming. It was as if the camera had become my lifeline, my only tether to reality in this nightmarish world I found myself in. I had become obsessed with uncovering the truth behind the haunted circus, and the found footage films that had once inspired me had now become my reality. One night, as I ventured deeper into the heart of the circus, my camera captured something that sent shivers down my spine. In the dim light, I saw a figure standing in the middle of the tent, swaying back and forth as if in a trance. The camera zoomed in on its face, and I recoiled in horror as I realized that it was my own reflection. I stumbled back, tripping over debris and falling to the ground. My heart raced, and I felt a wave of panic wash over me. Was I losing my mind? Had the haunting of the circus finally taken its toll on me? I reviewed the footage on my camera, desperate to find answers. But the footage was nothing like I had seen before. It was distorted, glitchy, and seemed to show events that I had no memory of experiencing. The lines between reality and fiction had completely blurred, and I couldn't trust my own perception of the events unfolding around me. As I continued to unravel the mysteries of the circus, I found myself trapped in a nightmarish loop. I would explore the same corridors and tense over and over again, encountering the same supernatural occurrences, but with subtle differences each time. It was as if the circus was playing a cruel game with me, toying with my sanity and trapping me in its clutches. My health deteriorated rapidly, both mentally and physically. I barely ate or slept, consumed by my obsession with capturing the truth on camera. I became emaciated and paranoid, unable to distinguish between reality and the nightmarish world that the circus had become. One fateful night, I descended into the depths of the circus, following a trail of clues that seemed to lead to a hidden chamber. The air was thick with an oppressive energy, and my camera flickered erratically, capturing strange distortions and glitches. I reached the hidden chamber, and what I found there horrified me to the core. It was a shrine, adorned with macabre symbols and surrounded by the remains of long-dead animals. It was clear that some sort of ritualistic activity had taken place here, and the truth of the haunted circus started to unravel before my eyes. As I fumbled with my camera, trying to document the evidence, a presence manifested itself in the chamber. I felt an icy grip on my shoulder, and I turned around to see a ghostly figure standing before me. It was a twisted, grotesque creature, with glowing eyes and a sinister grin. I screamed, but my voice was drowned out by the distorted sounds that filled the chamber. The camera glitched and distorted, capturing bizarre images that seemed to defy logic and reason. The walls of the chamber seemed to close in on me, and I felt like I was being pulled into a nightmarish vortex. In a desperate attempt to escape, I ran through the corridors of the circus, but the surroundings shifted and changed around me. It was as if the circus itself was alive, taunting me and trapping me in its endless maze. My camera continued to capture disturbing footage, showing glimpses of a reality that was beyond comprehension. As my mind descended into madness, I lost all sense of time and space. Days blurred into nights, and the circus became a labyrinth of horrors. I saw things that no one should ever see, and my grip on reality slipped further and further away. Eventually, I found myself back at the entrance of the circus, utterly exhausted and mentally shattered. My camera, now barely functioning, showed me a reflection that was unrecognizable, a hollow shell of my former self, haunted by the terrors that lurked within the cursed circus. I stumbled out of the circus, feeling as though a heavy burden had been lifted from my shoulders. But the horrors didn't end there. The found footage films that had once inspired me had now become my own personal nightmare. The footage I had captured in the circus was unlike anything I had ever seen, distorted, glitchy, and filled with otherworldly imagery that seemed to defy all rational explanation. As I tried to make sense of what had happened to me, I realized that the circus had left an indelible mark on my psyche. I was plagued by nightmares, tormented by visions of the ghostly figure I had encountered in the hidden chamber. I became paranoid and suspicious of my surroundings, constantly fearing that the circus was still haunting me, even though I had escaped its physical confines. My health continued to deteriorate, and I became a shell of my former self. My obsession with uncovering the truth had consumed me completely, and I was unable to move on from the horrors I had experienced. I felt isolated and alone, unable to share my story with anyone without being dismissed as delusional or insane. One day, while reviewing the footage I had captured in the circus, I noticed something that sent chills down my spine. In the distorted footage, I saw glimpses of other found footage films, snippets of horror movies, documentaries, and amateur recordings. It was as if the curse of the circus had spread beyond its confines, infecting other forms of media. The realization struck me like a ton of bricks. The circus had never been a standalone haunted place. It was a gateway, a portal that had opened up a world of darkness and malevolence, influencing other found footage films and spreading its curse to anyone who dared to explore its mysteries. Driven by a renewed sense of purpose, I embarked on a desperate quest to uncover the truth behind the cursed circus and its connection to the found footage films. I dug deep into the history of the circus, tracing its origins back to a dark and obscure past filled with tales of supernatural occurrences and mysterious disappearances. I reached out to fellow enthusiasts of found footage films, hoping to find answers and support. But my attempts were met with skepticism and doubt. Many dismissed my claims as the ravings of a madman, while others warned me to stay away from the cursed circus and its dark secrets. Undeterred, I delved deeper into the dark underbelly of the found footage community, unearthing obscure websites, forums, and chat rooms that were dedicated to uncovering the truth behind the paranormal events captured on film. I connected with like-minded individuals who had also been influenced by the cursed circus and its found footage films. Together, we pieced together fragments of information, slowly unraveling the mystery that had consumed us. We discovered that the cursed circus had a long history, dating back centuries, and that it had been the site of various occult rituals and dark practices. The circus had served as a portal, allowing malevolent forces to seep into our world and influence the found footage films that were created within its confines. As we delved deeper into the dark web of the cursed circus, we encountered sinister entities that seemed to exist beyond our comprehension. They were ancient, malevolent beings that fed on fear and thrived on chaos. They had infiltrated the world of found footage films, using them as a means to spread their influence and torment those who dared to delve too deep into their dark realm. My mental state continued to deteriorate as the lines between reality and fantasy blurred. I became increasingly paranoid, unable to distinguish between the found footage films I had once been passionate about and the haunting images that now seemed to follow me wherever I went. The ghostly figure I had encountered in the hidden chamber of the circus appeared to me in my nightmares, whispering cryptic messages and beckoning me to return to the cursed circus. Despite the warnings of my fellow investigators, I couldn't resist the pull of the circus. I found myself drawn back to its eerie grounds, unable to resist the allure of the unknown. Armed with my camera, I ventured once again into the abandoned circus, determined to confront the malevolent forces that had haunted me for so long. The circus had changed since my last visit. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, and the atmosphere was suffocating. The once familiar paths now seemed distorted and twisted, leading me deeper into the heart of darkness. I pushed forward, guided only by my obsession to uncover the truth. As I ventured deeper into the circus, I encountered manifestations of the dark forces that had taken root within its walls. I saw grotesque creatures with twisted limbs, heard eerie laughter echoing through the halls, and witnessed inexplicable phenomena that defied all logic. My camera captured it all, but the footage only seemed to worsen my mental state. Finally, I arrived at the hidden chamber where I had first encountered the ghostly figure. The chamber was now transformed, a nexus of otherworldly energy that pulsed with malevolence. The ghostly figure appeared before me, its form shifting and warping, its voice a haunting chorus of whispers. "Welcome back," it hissed, its voice echoing in my head. "You cannot escape the curse. You are one of us now." Determined to break free from the curse, I confronted the ghostly figure, demanding answers. It revealed to me that the circus had long served as a portal for dark forces to enter our world, using the found footage films as a conduit for their influence. The cursed circus had infected the very fabric of reality, distorting and corrupting the films that were created within its confines. I realized that I had become a pawn in their dark game, unwittingly spreading their influence through my own obsession with found footage films. My mind had become a playground for their malevolent whims, and I was trapped in their web of deceit. In a desperate attempt to break free, I used my camera to capture the ghostly figure on film, hoping that the evidence would be enough to expose the curse and banish the dark forces from our world. But the figure laughed, revealing that it had been one step ahead of me all along. With a final, chilling scream, the ghostly figure vanished, leaving me alone in the dark chamber. My camera malfunctioned, the footage corrupted beyond recognition. I was left with nothing but a sense of defeat, my mind shattered by the realization that I had become a pawn in the curse of the circus. As I stumbled out of the circus for the last time, I felt a profound emptiness inside me. The once fascinating world of found footage films now held no appeal for me. The curse had taken its toll, leaving me broken and disillusioned. I sought help, but my story was met with disbelief and dismissal. No one could comprehend the horrors I had witnessed, and I was left to grapple with my demons alone. I struggled to rebuild my life, haunted by the memories of the cursed circus and the dark forces that had manipulated me.